have it all. I can have it all.
Hello, everybody. This is Christy Whitman with the Quantum Success Show, where you can get your information and inspiration to create your desires. And as you can see, I have a friend with me. I've actually had Nick Ortner on the show before because he really talks. He's like the tapping expert. So I'm really excited to have Nick back and talk about a totally different aspect than we've talked about before with tapping. So before I welcome Nick, I just want to introduce him a little bit for those of you that don't know, which I think you've probably been living under a rock if you don't. But Nick Ortner is the CEO of the Tapping Solution, a company with a mission to bring into mainstream, which he absolutely has done, a simple, effective, and natural healing method known as emotional freedom technique, or EFT, or tapping. Nick's goal is to empower people to create healthy, abundant, and stress-free lives through really his books, his films, his CDs, his online events, and speaking engagements attended by participants from all over the world. And you've probably been part of or seen his Tapping Solution book. And he has an amazing summit that for 9 years has been helping people learn how to use EFT. But he is the New York Times bestselling author of The Tapping Solution, a revolutionary system for stress-free living, and The Tapping Solution for Pain Relief, a step-by-step guide to reducing and eliminating chronic pain, which is amazing, which we're going to talk about today. And prior to that, Nick created and produced the breakthrough documentary film, The Tapping Solution, which follows 10 people who use tapping to overcome major significant challenges from chronic back pain, fibromyalgia, insomnia, and devastating grief, and so much more. So his books and film document real and extraordinary results that have inspired tens of thousands to follow, the successfully applied tapping to their lives. And he has also produced the first one-of-their-kind online program that teaches easy, effective ways to apply tapping to anything limiting a person's, any condition, any situation, any physical, emotional, anything you got going on that you want to change. He has done this by creating the Tapping World Summit, which has been attended by well over 1 million people. And you can get more information on that under the video, because he is in his 9th year, which is so crazy. So Nick, welcome back to the Quantum Success Show.
Christy, thank you for the lovely welcome and introduction. I can't believe it's been 9 years. I think it was a couple of years in when we started saying, hey, we should say annual and give it a year, because these are stacking up, and next year's going to be 10, but here we are.
Amazing. And you've had some really amazing people in the summit, and videos that you've done with Louise Hay and Wayne Dyer and Marianne Williamson, and just some of the top luminaries of our time that really promote and support the whole entire process of tapping and what it can do. Yeah,
it's something that when I first made the Tapping Solution film, which was almost a decade ago now, I found, as I started looking around, that all these experts, the people who I follow, the people whose books I read, were using tapping. And some of them talked about it publicly and others didn't. And they were like, oh yeah, I use tapping. So one of the things that I've done in the last decade is really try to shine a light on all those people using tapping. Doctors, psychologists, psychiatrists, all over the world. And it's for one reason. It's because it works. It works, and you can apply it. And one of the things that I love most about it, which we'll talk about today, is that you can apply it to anything in your life. It's not like a different philosophy. It's not like it's like, okay, you take whatever you believe in. I mean, whether this be religious beliefs, spiritual beliefs, ways to think about the world, business beliefs, and you just overlay this technique on top of it. You overlay this technique that says, okay, I know the change that I want to create in my life. I can see in front of me what I want, but I can't get there. There's something in the way. And I think the challenge for me in the past, and I'm sure you had the same experience, is like, okay, I know what I want. I know what I want to do. I know how I want to act. I can't get there. And there's something in my way, and I know I want to let it go, right? That I want to let go of the past, that I want to forgive people, that I want to reduce my stress in my life. How do you actually do it? That's what I didn't know. And it wasn't until I learned about tapping and in the years since then, all the science and research about the physiology of the body, it seems so obvious now, but for decades we've been up here saying, okay, well, if I have a problem, I'm going to think my way out of it. I'm going to read a book and I'm going to say this positive. It's all brain stuff. And we've forgotten, you can't see it now, the rest of my body, right? That this body's holding on to stuff, that these stress responses, that these ways of being are deep in our brain and our body. And the reason why we can't just relax, the reason why we can't stop procrastinating or follow our dreams or do the things that we want to do is because we don't have the physiology to actually support that.
Yes, absolutely. Well, they say the issues are in the tissues, and it's not just up here.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about it. And let's just be clear, it's not the only tool, but it is a tool that's very effective. It's got so much science behind it, and it's got so much, I mean, you've brought it. Your goal was to bring it mainstream. I mean, I applaud you for that, because you really have. Because the first time I learned about EFT was about 15 years ago, and it was in a room in a hotel. And I think there was like 5 of us, and it was like something you did secretly, and ooh, you're weird, and but it's like I was just telling you before we were talking on the call. My son asked for this every night because he doesn't necessarily have me do even though I'm, and all the words and everything, but he loves just the fact that I tap him, and it gives him such a calming effect on his whole body, because he's a boy and he's just like, I want to go to bed, and when I start to tap him, I could see it's like his body takes a breath and calm.
Yeah. And just that, I mean, people always ask like, well, so what is it that's doing it? Is it the tapping or the words or this? It's all of it. It's the magic combination. But just tapping, I mean, if I start tapping the karate chop point when I'm stressed and overwhelmed, I don't have to say anything. Just this process. Next thing I know, I'm yawning. Like there's a physiological response that happens, and it's powerful, and you can feel it. So at the most basic level, people often get stuck. One of the reasons we do the summit is to educate people on all the different uses for the summit. I mean, for the tapping, and people get stuck. What do I say? How do I do it? Just tapping, like just what your son is doing. It's calming that physiology. It's turning. And what the latest research is showing is that one of the mechanisms is that when we tap on these endpoints of meridians, we send a calming signal to the amygdala in the brain. So we're telling that amygdala, that fight or flight response, that thing that's activated all day long as we go, we're telling it that it's safe. Just that basic process. If you can get that amygdala to calm down, if you can get your body to come down, if you can find that space to take a breath, from that place is where I think anything is possible. And truly, whether it be financial success or weight loss or pain relief, you'll see in the summit, we cover all these topics, relationships. At the core of all the challenges that we have in those aspects of our lives, if we really dig deep, first we say, oh, well, I'm having financial challenges because of X, right? We see this external circumstance.
Right.
We start digging deeper. We see that there are these emotional patterns in place, and that those emotional patterns are often that activated amygdala. So when I say to you, well, tell me about the last time you were successful. Now you're bankrupt. What happened last time you were successful? Oh, well, and you start stressing about it right then. Oh, it was such a stressful time. Or my parents were mad at me because they thought I was too good for them, and this. And we have all these things that come up, all these emotions, setting off that amygdala, setting off that pattern. And really, it's about patterns, right? It's the patterns that we run over and over again. We can turn off that conditioning. We can find that space to breathe. And that's when the creative ideas come. That's when it's like, okay, I have a space to breathe. If we think about it, when that amygdala is firing, we have the fight or flight response. The blood flows away from our brain into our arms and legs. Why? Because we have to fight. We have to flee. We have to run. This is how most of us are running around all day. We're clenched. We're ready to fight. There's no blood in our brain. So when we're faced with a challenge, as opposed to saying, what is the solution here? What's the most creative outcome? How can I say something clearly, passionately, with love? How can I communicate what I need? How can I make a good decision when it comes to exercise or the food I'm putting in my mouth? That takes space. The blood is out of our brain because we're fighting or fleeing. We are literally dumber than we've ever been when we're fighting or fleeing, right? There's no blood in the brain to think. I think the most extreme version of this is when you've had too much to drink and you're hungover, right? Like, do you make good decisions when you're hungover?
Right.
Do your life dreams come true when you're hungover? Like, are you clear in your relationship? No. And it's okay to be hungover once in a while, right? But that shows that we have all these different states of our mind and our body. What the tapping does, what my purpose is in getting out in the world, is how do we hit peak performance? How do we find that space so we can make better decisions about our life, so we can be more creative, so we can be more loving? And I find that what happens is when you open up that space, that's when the real magic in life happens. And that's when you have the law of attraction and synchronicities and things going, why is everything flowing? Because I'm ready for it. Like, I've gotten myself in a place where it feels right and safe and comfortable. And like I said, tapping is a tool to find your way to that place.
And that's what I love, because obviously here what I teach is about universal laws and helping people manifest the things that they want. And there's seems to be some kind of bugaboo area. There's some kind of, whether it's money for somebody or relationships for somebody else, it could be weight for somebody else. But this is such a great tool that, you know, it's all about energy, and it's in the moment when you feel that resistance about whatever. Maybe you go into the old story, you feel victimized by the money that you don't have, or whatever the story is, whatever the situation. And that when you tap, to be able to totally calm your whole entire system and be able to release that resistance and open up to see a different perspective, relax. You know, it is a tool. It's a great tool. You know, I find that it's even a really great tool if I'm PMSing, if I find that I'm emotional.
Absolutely.
It calms my system down.
Calms the system down. And, you know, I think one of the most powerful things about it is, and I hear it so often from people, they'll listen to the summit, they'll listen to first couple of days, and the word I hear again and again is that they feel that they have hope again. Because people have just been so beaten down by things not working. With the tapping, you're actually taking that power back in, right? In so many aspects of our lives, it feels like other things control it, right? You know, it's the news, it's the things happening in the world, it's the economy, it's my family, it's my body, it's my genes, and we feel powerless.
Right.
With the tapping, we have an opportunity to say, okay, I'm feeling this way. I have this pain. I'm stuck. I'm angry. I can't think past this issue. Now I did something myself. Like, I own this, and I created that change. And just opening that door to be able to say, like, no, you're in control. Are you in control of everything 100% of the time? No, right? Things happen. Life is unpredictable. Your genes do play a role in your life and your health, but it's a role. It's one roll of the dice, right? You get to keep rolling it and doing other things and changing it and expressing those genes differently and turning on the genes that are healthy and health providing. So for people to know that they can take that power back, I think is one of the most powerful parts of the whole process.
Well, you just reminded me, because of, you know, so many people right now are in so much fear and freaking out about, you know, the fact that President Trump has taken office and he's making some decisions that a lot of people don't agree with. And I'm not here to judge or say either one, but what I want to say is that, you know, we're the ones that create our own reality. He cannot actually create in our reality, but he will have influence if we make our thoughts and, you know, go to the negativity and the, oh my God, we're all doomed and the sky is falling. And I mean, all that does for us is it just creates more anxiety. And tapping is a great way when you have an opinion or something happens and you feel like, oh my God, my life's going to be ruined because of this, or, you know, whatever your opinion is. You know, or even someone, maybe you like Trump and you like what he's doing, but you got people that are opposing you, whatever it is, it's like to be able to calm yourself down with this tool and like you said, come back to yourself and know that you control your thoughts, you control your emotions, come to a more relaxed state. Then you're like, oh, you know?
No, 100%. And, you know, if we think about those anxious states and those fearful states. I mean, I know when I become fearful about anything, I feel my energy sort of like suck in, right? Like, so whether you read an article about politics that stresses you out, or you read some conspiracy thing that is like, maybe it's true, maybe it's not, I don't know. But my challenge with any of that stuff is whenever I put anything in my consciousness, it makes me shrink down. And what happens when you're in that place, when you're in that fearful place about anything in life, is you'll never find yourself being in that fearful place and saying, you know, I should write that book I've been dreaming about for a long time, or I should start that new business that I've been thinking about. It's the complete opposite. You go, I don't want to do that. I'm scared. Like, I want to go under a blanket. I want someone to take care of me. It is the complete opposite of a creative place. You can't have a fearful thought and a creative thought at the same time. Just impossible. It's physically impossible. You're either expansive, creative, loving, or you're scared. Right. So that's the choice now, right? Whatever, again, and it's not even about the political spectrum. I mean, to me, the biggest challenge that I see in this day and age is the animosity and the negative energy, social media, whatever chatter it is, it's like I see people with so much anger and I just know they're not creating. Like, go do creative things. Like, channel that anger into a positive place. Turn that fear around. You're never going to be able to channel the fear into a positive place because you're just going to be shrunk down. So release that fear, open up, and channel it to do something good. Like, get out there, get in the world, volunteer at a homeless shelter, like, write your book, do whatever makes your heart sing. Like, now's the time to do that, not comments in some snarky way to what someone else said on Facebook. Like,
I agree. Hurt people, and they need
that's
to.
That's it. Let's help. We're here to heal the world, and especially the people listening. I know, Christy, you've heard about different studies they've done and the idea that 1% of the population, that the consciousness changing in just 1% of the population can sort of domino effect with everyone else. And that's an exciting thing for me to think about, that idea that, like, boom, like, okay, what if I'm one part of that 1% and I can open up and be loving and be caring, and just by my consciousness, just by my way of being, can affect the 99%. That's the 1% I want to be a part of.
Absolutely. I'm with you. You are in that 1%. We both are. And let's, expand it to 2%.
We got to keep it up. Exactly. Yeah. Yep.
Absolutely. So, Nick, you're amazing. I'm glad we've had this discussion, this conversation. I just want to invite, I know you've got a free gift for everybody, and we're going to put it underneath the video and the link. But you want to explain what it is?
Yeah. So we have our Tapping World Summit coming up. And we have a sort of a pre-launch video, which is a tapping demonstration where I take you through all the points on stage, the science and research, and we have 2 audios that come with that, one going deeper into the tapping and one in the science and research of the tapping. So this is sort of the kickoff to the summit, and really the big free gift is the 10 days of the Tapping World Summit. It's what I encourage people to listen in. I know there's a lot of summits out there. We've been doing it for 9 years. The one thing I can say that I can promise about this event is that there's 2 presentations a day for 10 days. They're all content. I mean, there's nothing but content there. Nobody pitches their book. Nobody pitches another program. Nobody says you've got to go buy this thing. It's like, we don't even tell stories about where people learned about tapping. We are focused on you and your experience. And like, you're giving us 45 minutes to an hour to listen in. You're going to get value out of that. I mean, to me, that was from day 1 of the summit. First year we did it, I said, I cannot waste a second of anybody's time. I don't want to hear somebody's backstory about this give me something. I'm busy. Give me something that I can take and put into my play in my life right then and there. And that's what the summit does. So I really encourage everyone to listen in. I know you won't be disappointed.
Well, 2 things I want to say about that is that's what I love about your summit, is that it really does come from a place of service. So if someone's watching, they're going to learn how to tap properly, how to tap and what to say for whatever specific issue they're having. So, and that's what I love about you and your brother. I love your brother so much, Alex, and me and your sister, is you guys always come from a place of service. And so your summit just really reflects that. And so that's why I appreciated you even just coming on here and, being in service to just even talk about it, why it's such an important tool. And so thank you. And then I just recommend everybody go below the video, click the link. I mean, it's a service that they're providing really from a place of giving. Nick is amazing. And it just really, like I said, he is in service and he really genuinely wants to help people. And so if you're having any issue in your life, whether it's pain, whether it's financial, whether it's, relationship, whatever it is, just try this for yourself. It's another tool that you have in your toolbox. You get to learn, you can apply it and see how it works for you. So go to the link, click it, go see the summit. Nick, you're awesome. I so appreciate you being here.
Thank you, Christy. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks so much. Leave us a comment, you guys. Let us know what you're taking away. Bye.
Thanks for watching, and here is a related video to watch right now. Also, check out my free webinars on creating whatever you want in your life using the universal laws that I explain in each webinar. So share your thoughts by leaving a comment and continue the conversation at christywhitman.com.